chick on a bike while it was all going on. And as long as there's some hot chick out on a bike and somebody else walking down Pennsylvania Avenue, there's always somebody else out there in the world somewhere, so nobody's ever really alone. So you're not alone. 47% of the population believes this crap.
Low information voters. Exactly right.
So that's what we're up against. You know, now the serious side of me says, damn, we got 47% of the population that's dumb. They're the 5 people that watch MSNBC. And we...
Thank you. That was the NSA. It's okay.
So we got to beat these people. And I look at America now, and I've never been more motivated in my life to try and get the country back on track. Look, America, as strong of a country as it is, and we've overcome a lot. You got to love this country's strength and its ability to overcome adversity. We have fought 2 world wars. We beat back fascism, Nazism, Imperial Japan, communism. I vacillate. I don't know where you are in terms of sometimes I'm optimistic. Like after last night, I was kind of energized. I was interviewing Trump and interviewing Cruz, and I'm thinking, they kicked some ass last night. There's hope. And then I think, all right, about the Clinton voters and the Obama voters, and they're dumb. So then I vacillate back to pessimism. Then I'm optimistic again because I think America's waking up. And then Congress passes a budget like they did this week, and I said, this really sucks.
Oh, man.
Can you imagine $4.1 trillion in new debt under John Boehner? That is not small government. That is not conservatism. That is not a reduction in spending or a reduction in government and big government. So I vacillate. Here's my fear. We've overcome all these things. Now the question is, we have, and this is what motivates me and gets me up in the morning and why I'm so passionate about politics. We have 95 million Americans out of the labor force, the lowest labor participation since 1972. We have 50 million of our fellow Americans that live in poverty. We have 46 million Americans on food stamps. Both those numbers, the poverty numbers and the food stamp numbers, that's up 15 million since Mr. Hope and Change got into office. Median income has gone down nearly $5,000 a family. I know what it's like to be poor. I was 8 years old delivering papers. I grew up in a little 50 by 100 lot. My dad had fought in World War II. It was a big deal for him. He grew up really poor in Bed-Stuy. I know what it's like not to have money. I was a dishwasher. I was a cook. I was a busboy. I was a waiter. I was a bartender. I drank too much. Had a lot of fun, though. I got into construction. I painted houses. How did I get into talk radio? I was on top of ladders calling radio talk shows, and people wanted to talk. I want to talk to that idiot who just called in on the ladder. A career was born. I got my first job in Santa Barbara, California. I was thrown off the air in 40 hours, and a career was built. I worked for years for free, and then my first paid job was in Huntsville, Alabama for $19,000 a year in talk radio. I begged Robin for a job. She said I sucked. She wouldn't hire me. I'm kidding. That's not true. But that opportunity, I worry if our kids are going to have that. You know what our debt is now? Barack Obama in 2007 and 8 said, $9 trillion in debt, a credit card used at the Bank of China in the name of our kids and grandkids, that's irresponsible. That's unpatriotic. I'm like, yeah, you just accumulated more debt than every other president before you combined. You're irresponsible and by your own definition, unpatriotic. And the worst part is, all of this is happening and we've got a Republican Party that is weak and timid and afraid and surrender and, they're going to get blamed for a government shutdown. I'm more angry at the Republicans than I am the Democrats. So, you ever see the movie So I Worry and I Vacillate and remember there's a pivotal moment where the ship hit the iceberg and it was breached. Leonardo
Leonardo DiCaprio and Kate Winslet, they already had their Monica moment. This is a really great crowd at 8 a.m. And so they come back up, and then the engineer, the architect, lays out the plans for the shed. And you have this guy, he wanted to speed up the Titanic so they'd have a big news story. And the guy goes, well, this is an unsinkable ship. And the architect turns to him and goes, sir, it's made of steel, I assure you. She can think, and she will. I worry about this. Why this is so important is we can't let America sink. We can't let a bastion of freedom and hope and go away. And this is why I think this is a tipping point election for the country. And I don't know who's going to win. I don't know. You know, right now, America, our government is the largest debtor nation. Our government's the largest creditor. Our government's the largest consumer. The United States government is the largest property owner, the largest tenant, the largest healthcare provider, consumes 25% of all goods and services in the country, and is the largest pension holder. Now, last night, one of the key moments I thought came through in that debate is, you know, there was some honesty on that stage where they actually admitted that these guys stole from us. Every one of you in this room have paid into Social Security your entire life, and you had Chris Christie, Mike Huckabee, maybe one or two others, admitting there's no lockbox. They took the money, they squandered it, and they should be in jail. You know, so... Yeah, you can clap, that's all right. I haven't even really talked about it. Then they hadn't... Am I the only one that looks at this Iranian deal and say this country's gone mad? No. Crazy. We're going to give the mullahs in Iran $150 billion. They're going to build missile defense with Putin and Russia. They're going to continue to build their ICBMs so that when they have a nuclear weapon, they'll be able to reach the shores of the continental United States. They get 24 days inspection. That's when the inspection process is actually triggered and started. It's really more like 60 days. In some cases, they even get to pick their own inspectors. And, you know, it's true. And they get to build conventional weapons and a conventional weapon system. And we can't get 4 American hostages as part of the deal. We get nothing. And why do I look at this? This isn't complicated. 1 + 1 = 2. A squared, B squared = C squared. Radical Islamic mullahs who during negotiations say, death to Israel, wipe Israel off the map, death to America, burning Israeli flags and American flags. Those are not the people you want to give nuclear weapons to. Because Iranian mullahs, coupled with weapons of mass destruction, potentially equals a modern-day Holocaust. And that's what this president has now done. And then you got Hillary Clinton. I've never seen anything like it. If you listen to the media, you would think she had the greatest week in the history of politics last week. She has one good week in a year, and they are so happy to rehabilitate her. Yes, sir, go ahead. She lied through her teeth. Okay, that's why talk radio is so important. Because the media ignored that, Fox News didn't ignore it, and talk radio didn't ignore it. And everybody else off the air. Hi. This is our friend in the black leather jacket. Your name, ma'am?
Pippi.
Hi, Pippi.
I have a radio background.
Yes, sir.
My mentors, you probably know. The FCC has the window closed for AM applications, and they have no plan to open it. I live in a rural area where I can't pick up AM radios. We don't have any.
Thank God for the internet. You can listen online.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, but I'm outside a lot. But anyway, the point is...
But Nielsen won't measure it, but that's a different story for a different day.
But the Democrats control the FCC, they're afraid to talk radio, and they keep the window for applications closed.
There was a story this week that actually they were looking to investigate me because I had conversations with Scott Walker, and they were looking into whether I violated laws because I had him on the air as an in-kind donation. I put up my best friend from childhood, a guy from 3rd grade, his name John Gomez, and he was running for Congress. And I linked his website to my website, and they filed a complaint against me. It cost me $100,000 because the government was coming after me. And I won on a 3-2 vote because one Democrat was absent one day and the Republicans snuck in the vote. At least that's my interpretation. But where was I? Let me go back to my point. Where was I? Anyone remember? What? Oh, yeah. So Hillary, here's what we learned in the Benghazi hearing. 600 separate requests for security denied. And she answers Sid Vicious Blumenthal's emails. She's got time for that. She doesn't have time to read the emails from Benghazi when Ambassador Stevens is sending cables that say Al-Qaeda is training their forces right next door, and she didn't have time to answer one of those 600 emails. Not one of them made it to her desk. And the big lie that was told, and this to me, this should have been highlighted in the media, but that's the same media that was running that debate last night. They discovered that, they found the emails. Hillary writes her daughter, Chelsea, and says, Chelsea, it was a terror attack. This is an hour after she told the American people, no, this is related to a YouTube video and a spontaneous demonstration. Now, I never heard of a spontaneous demonstration, even in Los Angeles.